Well, howdy there, folks. How's she going today? I hope you're all doing really good. Well, it's been a little bit since I shot a video here for you guys, so I thought I'd document this one real quick. This is a guitar my uncle just picked up at a garage sale just yesterday. He sent me a few pictures, and it looked really clean. Okay, so what we're looking at here is an Epiphone F-T 145. This is made in Japan. Nice spruce top, mahogany back and sides, and a bolt-on neck. Now these are really cool guitars. These are from the 70s. And Epiphone was doing this for a while with the bolt-on neck here. Now I actually owned one of these at one time, and mine was the same model, and the neck plate said made in Japan on it. Now this one doesn't, so I'm not really positive about that whole thing as far as the years go, but this is in really, really good condition. Now these have an adjustable bridge on them too. There would usually be two thumb screws here with a slotted, head on it. Now this has got a couple little Allen screws in it. Oftentimes you really don't even need those because you just put the bridge all the way down and go with it. So anyway, he got a really, really good deal on this. And, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh man, I had one of those. And it sounded really, really nice. Now the one I had was in pretty rough shape. Around the sound hole, it had been destroyed. I fixed it up as good as I could. Visually, it wasn't real attractive, but it did still sound and play very well. I ended up giving mine to a relative, and I figured, I put it into a good home. I wasn't using it, and I had a lot of acoustic guitars at the time, so I gifted it to him, and a year later, he actually gifted me another Epiphone with a bolt-on neck, but it's the like 000 size body. Really cool guitar, and that one sounds well too. So anyways, like I said, these are made in Japan, 70s era. This is one of the cleanest examples I've ever seen. I mean, this really looks like it's unplayed. It's got a little cloudiness happening under the finish, which that tends to happen on these. It's just part of it. It could be the lining in the cardboard case here. At least that was what I was thinking, because mine had the case too. But in any case, this has been well taken care of. It does have some play wear, but not a lot. He took it to a local music store, and they told him that the neck needed to be shimmed, and the alignment was wrong. So we're going to take a look at that. I can't imagine there's too much wrong with it, but, that's the great part about the bolt-on neck. You can do a neck reset in a matter of minutes without steam or heat or anything. You just take 4 neck bolts out and shim it, and you're on your way. Okay, so I found some strings in the case. Looks like we got some Ernie Ball Earthwoods here. 13 through 56. Those are a little heavier than what I like. I like 11s or 12s maybe, depending on the guitar, but this should really ring with a set of 13s on it for sure. So that's what we're going to put back on it anyway, and we'll look everything over. I just kind of peeked inside and did a tap test on the top and the back. I couldn't hear any loose braces or anything, so again, that's a really good sign. The case has a little blemish here, a couple little dings, but, for what it is, it's in pretty good condition. Those usually don't last that long. Okay, well, the first thing, let's see if the neck's straight. Got my straight edge here. It's got a little bit of a back bow to it. I can feel it rocking. Alright, so we know it's got to have some forward bow, and string tension will give us that. So now I'm just going to take a peek across the fretboard here. Well, it's not terrible. maybe a 3/16 of an inch down here by the body joint. Now a little bit of, back bow is going to change that some. I still think we may need to shim the neck. Now I also took out these adjusters here. There was 2 Allen adjusters, which again, like I said, it would have a thumb wheel with a slotted screw in it to raise and adjust the action. I took them out because I want to make sure I'm all the way down with this. So it is, and there is a little bit of room left to play with here. I could possibly even shave the bridge down slightly or shim the neck. So that's a decision I'll have to make as I go along. Okay, so here's a little closer look at what I'm talking about. I've seen worse, but again, when we introduce some back bow, that'll change some. I guess the question is will it change it enough? We are about to find out. Well, before I get too far, I do need to oil the fretboard here, and I'm just going to polish these frets up a little bit. Forgot to add, this is a 0 fret too. I'm just taking some micro mesh here, 2000 grit, just knocking some of the haze off them a little bit, and I'll probably finish up with a fret eraser, get the rest of it. You want them nice and shiny and smooth. Not like you're doing a lot of string bends on these, but it just makes them play a lot easier, in my opinion. And if you do bend a string, it's going to bend a lot easier. And if they're dirty and hazed over, they'll feel kind of dry underneath your fingers. Well, that's looking better. You can see them at least shining now. That's a good thing. I'm using a fret eraser here just to clean up the rest, like I said. Some people don't care for these, but I actually use them quite a bit. And, you get these little kind of dingleberries that come off it, almost like a school eraser. Maybe kids don't even use those anymore, I don't know, but you'd always have a pile on your paper where you erased something that you wrote, and it's kind of like that. But other than that, they work great. And, it doesn't, scar anything up, so works good for me. All right, another shot of fretboard conditioner here. Just kind of get her lubed up and let that soak in good. It's got a nice, pretty rosewood fretboard on it. The frets feel good, too. There's really nothing, a couple maybe poking out, but nothing really major. Quite remarkable, I must say, for a guitar of this age. Like I said, it's all about how you store them, and if your climate's right, they'll keep for a long time. This guitar didn't have any strings on it either, so luckily that probably saved a lot of life right there. Okie doke, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to string this one up, tune it up to pitch, see where it's at. And then I'll make my call from there. I think I still may need to shim it a little bit, but I really need to do this just to see where everything's going to end up with these heavier gauge strings too. And again, it's not a big deal. All I have to do is loosen the strings up, pop the neck bolts out if I do need to add a shim, and we can do that. And yes, for you repair guys out there, I do realize the straight edge does not lie, but I'm more of a visual person sometimes. I want to see the gap and make my decisions from there, but that's just how I do it. I also wanted to add, for people that are just tuning in or just starting to play guitar or just want to learn about it a little bit, these numbers on the string packages here, this 56, that's in thousandths of an inch, okay? 46 thousandths, 34, and so on. Just wanted to add that in as well. Okay, so the action is a little high. I think we are going to have to add a shim. Not a big deal, but, now I got a real good visual. Sometimes it's just hard to capture some things on film. especially when you're trying to hold the camera or hold the instrument in a certain way so the viewers can see it. And, that's really the toughest part of, trying to document this stuff. So, again, a visual is kind of a big deal if you're going to record videos of this kind of stuff. So, bear with me, folks. I know it's kind of tedious and slow at times, but not everybody's an expert on it, and I don't want to shortchange anybody or leave anybody out. You don't necessarily have to play guitar to know how to work on them, Leo Fender, he couldn't play guitar. Let that sink in for a minute. He was an engineer, but man, oh man, to kick something out like a Telecaster, Fender Precision Bass, Strats, Tellies. It's just mind-boggling to this day, at least for me, to think about that. The man did not play guitar and designed some of the best guitars in history. It's pretty crazy. All right, so we're going to take this plate off the neck here, the back, I should say. Basically like the neck plate on an electric guitar. And there should be some holes with nut bolts underneath here. At least on a good day, that's what it's supposed to be like. Alright, so there's the holes. And I can see them all in there. I see the little shiny bolts in there. So what we're going to do is loosen these up a little bit, and I'll probably just stick a shim down in there, let it drop down in by the heel, because that's the direction it needs to go. Keep in mind, we want the headstock of the guitar to go down, and we want this end of the fretboard to come up a little bit. So to achieve that, we're going to have to put a shim in the heel. Basically like a neck reset that you do on a guitar that has a dovetail joint and the neck's glued in. The difference is here is we don't have to use heat or steam or anything, drill holes or whatnot to achieve a neck reset. We can change that angle with a shim. Now, some people may not think that's optimum, but to each his own. It really isn't a big deal to me. It may affect the sound slightly. I'm sure the bolt-on neck does too, but, it's different. And that's the way I look at these things. If they all sound like a D18 Martin, then what's the sense? I think it's nice to have variations. Okie doke, folks. Well, let's see what we got now. It's still a little bit high. It's not terrible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this overnight. I'm going to strum it pretty solid and hard too and get things moving. This hasn't been played in a long time, so it may take one more shim. I've got about 60 thousandths in there right now, but really rich sounding. Take my hand off the body. This is a really, really nice sounding guitar, which they are in general anyway, but a lot of sustain and stuff going on there too. So, after guitars sit for quite a while, when you put them back under tension, you got to let them kind of sit a little bit and see what they're doing. You got a little bit of a hump coming up behind the bridge, and I can see it tilting slightly, but we've got 13 through 56 strings on here. A guitar like this, honestly, with this bolt-on neck situation, I would probably try 11 gauge strings. I think it would keep the guitar alive a lot longer, but in any case, it sounds really nice, and it plays nice too. Listen to the sustain and ring. Kind of bright, almost like a bluegrass kind of sound, you know. The tuners are a little dry. Again, you know, you have to play this stuff and get everything moving again, and you should take a good day. You know, play it for a few hours, get it vibrating really good, put some moss into it, strum it pretty good, you know, good and hard, and that kind of wakes them back up. And then things will kind of settle into where they need to be, and you get a little bit better peek at what needs to be done. I really believe we will have to shim the heel. Maybe not that much. What I said, like 60 thousandths, maybe another 10, 15 thousandths, I'm thinking. And that should bring this really into a good place. Now, again, the saddle, I don't have the adjusters in there. They're actually in a container on the bench. So everything's right down on the top right now. And we've got about an 1/8 inch of saddle sticking up above the bridge, which is pretty decent. You know, I don't mind that. So you can hear it stretching and going out of tune and whatnot. But boy, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to tell you guys what he paid for this, but every one of you would have bought 2 of them for what he paid for it. If there was 2 of them there, it was an amazing buy and a really cool guitar. He doesn't play guitar, but he picks them up quite often, usually 1 or 2 a week sometimes. You know, I told him I'd take a peek at them. At least gives me first dibs on it if something I want to buy or anything. But no, I don't mind helping him out. He doesn't play guitar, so he doesn't really know all the ins and outs. But I'm sure if you keep watching my videos, you will figure it out, hopefully. Anyways, thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you real soon. I've got benches full of stuff here as usual, so we'll get to that. Probably the next video I'm going to do is going to be on pickups, wiring, how to map out a humbucker, you know, that has 4 wires, which is the north, which is the south, which is the slug coil, that kind of stuff. So if you end up with a pickup and there's no name on it, you know, the color coding system is different from every pickup manufacturer in a lot of cases. So you got to know how to test this out with a multimeter. It's really simple, but it's really helpful. So if you run into something that you don't have the data for, you can do it manually and figure it out yourself. All right, we'll see you guys real soon. Be good. Okie doke.